Hey Whitney, today's video comes in 4 parts. These are just sort of random interesting things that I've found out over the last few days and random inconsequential weird information we used to tell each other all the time when you were closer and we don't so much anymore, so here it goes. One is that a jiffy is actually a measurement of time, which I had no idea. It's not just some sort of expression, you know, be with you in a jiffy. It is an actual measurement of time. A jiffy is 1/100th of a second. Number two, names. Names have become really important to me, and particularly unique names, as in how they symbolize an individual and the odds that they give your children of leading a more interesting life. Now, of course, this obviously isn't a whole big 100% guarantee that if you give your kid an interesting name, they'll have an interesting life, and some of my, data for this is coming from fiction, which is fictional. But I really do think that if you have a unique and individual name, it helps give a kid a stronger sense of self and a stronger sense of individuality. You also might have to defend that name more or correct people if they say your name wrong in a more common sort of pronunciation like Neil Gaiman's characters have all the time. And I think it lends itself towards an, strong, individual thinking person. I mean, think about it. How many Calliopes or Tallulahs or Algernons lived boring lives as compared to, how many Jeffs or Brandons or Sarahs, no offense to anybody with any of those names. There's too many Jeffs and Brandons and Sarahs, I think. So I've decided I'm going to give my kids really interesting names. I mean, names that I like, of course, not just weird for the sake of weird, but interesting names so that they, have that bigger shot at living an interesting life. And then I will give them more normal middle names so that if they really hate it, that they have a more normal name that they can fall back on so they don't really hate me, which they might anyways. Because sometimes, don't get me wrong, I like Lindsay, I feel like a Lindsay a lot, but occasionally Lindsay is a little bit too much of an 80s cheerleader name for me, and I wish I had something a little bit more unique and definite. So, third thing is, Thomas Edison, I just found this out, was afraid of the dark, so I guess we really can say that necessity is the mother of invention. And lastly, the fourth thing is that, and this is one of those weird things that I just find amusing and hard to believe, even when it's just like the fact that your foot is always the length of your arm from your elbow to your wrist. You cannot fold a square piece of paper, regardless of the size of the square piece of paper. You cannot fold a square piece of paper more than 7 times in half. I had to go try this when I heard this. It's true. You cannot fold a square piece of paper more than 7 times in half. I mean, at least not by ordinary means. I'm sure it might be possible to engineer something that could fold a piece of paper more than 7 times in half. But, so that's all. I just wanted to say hi and share that with you, and hopefully I'll talk to you soon.